Alright, so let's talk about something that's literally attached to most of us almost constantly, these little earbuds, right? Bluetooth headphones. You put them in your ears without thinking, it's become second nature, but that convenience comes at a price, and no one's talking about it loud enough. What this technology and what is it doing to us being in such close proximity to our brains for hours on end? We're bathing in an invisible soup of electromagnetic frequencies, and these little ear gadgets are a concentrated source, right up against your skull. It's something we gotta unpack, really dig into, because the implications, well, they might be more serious than any of us realize. So what the hell is actually going on when you pop those wireless buds in? How do they even work? It's not magic even though it feels like it. Bluetooth headphones operate by sending and receiving data using radio frequency radiation. The specific frequency they're using is typically around 2.4 gigahertz. Your Wi-Fi router, the box that's blasting internet all through your house? That's often 2.4 gigahertz. Your microwave oven, the thing that literally cooks your food with radiation, that also operates in the 2.4 gigahertz band, the same fundamental type of energy that's used to nuke your leftovers, is what these headphones are using to stream Spotify into your brain. The difference with headphones is the proximity. These earbuds are your ear canal, or pressed right up against your skull for hours and hours. That constant direct exposure to RF radiation, even if it's lower power, is what we need to be looking at.
Now, a lot of people, and especially the companies making these things, will tell you, oh, it's fine, the signal is really weak. It's low-power Bluetooth, it's totally safe. And yeah, compared to, say, a cell phone tower, the power output of a Bluetooth earbud is significantly lower. But here's where that argument gets a little slippery, a little misleading. It's not just about the raw power of the signal, it's about the exposure, and that's massively affected by proximity. Think of it like heat. A bonfire is powerful, but if you're 100 feet away, you barely feel it. A tiny ember, though, if it lands on your skin, that's gonna burn you. The inverse square law in physics tells us that the intensity of radiation drops off dramatically with distance. So, while your Wi-Fi router might be putting out more power overall, the actual radiation dose you're getting from an earbud pressed against your head could be significant. Precisely, it's so close. It's like having a tiny, persistent antenna beaming signals directly into your skull. The cumulative effect of that constant, close-range exposure is what scientists are starting to get really concerned about.
So, what are the actual scientists, the people doing the research, saying about this? It's not just a bunch of tinfoil hat theories, man. There are studies, published in legitimate, peer-reviewed scientific journals that are raising some serious red flags. These aren't fringe publications. They're part of the established scientific discourse. And they're linking prolonged exposure to this low-intensity RF radiation, the kind your Bluetooth headphones are emitting, to a whole host of nasty stuff. We're talking about things people experience every day and might just brush off. For starters, headaches. Then there's fatigue, that constant feeling of being drained, even when you think you're getting enough sleep. Tinnitus, that persistent ringing or buzzing in your ears. That's another big one they're seeing. These are all things that can massively impact your quality of life. And the research is suggesting a connection to the electromagnetic environment we're steeping ourselves in.
Let's dig a little deeper into this oxidative stress thing, because it's not something to take lightly, especially when we're talking about your brain. When your neural cells are under constant oxidative stress, they're basically fighting a battle they're not designed to fight continuously. This can wear them down, impair their function, and even lead to cell death. It's like running an engine in the red all the time. Eventually, something's gonna blow. So, what are the potential long-term consequences of this cellular assault? We're talking about things like memory loss. Cognitive dysfunction is another one. That feeling of brain fog, difficulty concentrating, slower thinking, problems with executive function like planning and decision-making. These are the very faculties that make us who we are, that allow us to navigate the world effectively. If those start to degrade, your whole life is impacted.
All right, so we've established these earbuds are little RF transmitters you stick right next to your brain. But here's the part that often gets overlooked, the part no one really wants to hear or think about too deeply when they're enjoying their wireless freedom. It's not just one earbud emitting this radiation, it's both of them. You've got a transmitter in your left ear and a transmitter in your right ear, both operating simultaneously, both bathing your brain in these radio frequencies from two different directions. One earbud is communicating with your phone, and then often, the earbuds are also communicating with each other to synchronize the audio. So you've got multiple sources of RF exposure, all in extremely close proximity to highly sensitive neural tissue. It's not just a single point of entry, it's a crossfire.
Now, if you go looking, you'll find a lot of official statements from regulatory bodies and manufacturers saying that current wireless devices, including Bluetooth headphones, are safe and operate well within established guidelines. They'll point to studies, often industry-funded, that show no immediate, glaring harm. But here's the thing. There's a significant and growing number of independent researchers, scientists, and medical professionals around the world who are raising some serious red flags. They're looking at the accumulating body of evidence on non-thermal effects, the cellular stress, the biological impacts that aren't just about heating tissue. These researchers are pointing out that the existing safety standards are outdated and don't account for the nuances of prolonged low-level exposure, especially to the developing brains of children and adolescents, or the cumulative effects over a lifetime. There's an ongoing and sometimes quite heated debate within the scientific community. It's not a settled issue, no matter how much some parties want you to believe it is. Some scientists are publishing papers expressing urgent concerns, calling for more stringent regulations and, crucially, more long-term, independently funded research.
So what about these safety guidelines that manufacturers say their devices adhere to? The main metric used for assessing the safety of RF-emitting devices, like cell phones and Bluetooth headphones, is something called the Specific Absorption Rate, or SR. This measures the rate at which RF energy is absorbed by the human body. But here's the problem. These SR limits and the testing methodologies are, by many scientists' accounts, woefully outdated and inadequate for protecting public health from non-thermal, long-term exposure effects. The current SAR limits are primarily based on preventing significant tissue heating, basically stopping the radiation from cooking you. They don't really address the more subtle biological effects that can occur at radiation intensities far below those that cause noticeable heating, things like oxidative stress, DNA damage, or changes in brainwave activity. The tests are often conducted using a plastic dummy head filled with liquid called a SAM phantom, which is supposed to simulate human tissue. But how accurately can a plastic head replicate the complex living biology of your brain, especially over years of exposure? Many independent scientists argue that these guidelines are like using a yardstick to measure a molecule. They're just not looking for the right things at the right scale.
So, if we're concerned about this constant bath of radio frequency radiation from Bluetooth headphones, what's the alternative? Is there a way to enjoy your music, your podcasts, without potentially microwaving your gray matter, however slowly? Well, yeah, there is, and it's incredibly simple, almost laughably so given how far we've supposedly advanced. It's wired headphones. The primary undeniable benefit of traditional wired headphones is the absence of RF radiation being emitted directly next to or into your head. The audio signal travels through the wire as an electrical current, not as a radio wave broadcast through the air and through your skull. There's no transmitter in the earpiece, no Bluetooth chip constantly seeking a connection, no 2.4 gigahertz signals pulsing inches from your brain. From a radiation exposure standpoint, it's a night and day difference.
Beyond the direct health concerns of RF radiation, there's another aspect to this pervasive Bluetooth technology that we should probably be a little more uneasy about: its constant connectivity and the potential privacy implications. These Bluetooth devices, especially headphones, are often designed to be always on or in a constant state of readiness, searching for and maintaining connections. Your earbuds are continuously chattering with your phone, your watch, your laptop. It's a constant stream of data, however small. These devices, by their very nature, are tracking when and how you use them. Your phone knows when your headphones connect and disconnect. The apps you use with them are logging your listening habits, your location when you're using them, This data is valuable, incredibly valuable, to tech companies for targeted advertising, for product development, for building ever more detailed profiles of your behavior. So let's step back and ask the really uncomfortable question here. Why has there been such an explosive, almost frenzied rush towards wireless earbuds and wireless everything? Why are phone manufacturers removing headphone jacks, essentially forcing people down the wireless route? Is it purely for our convenience, or are there other factors at play? You gotta follow the money, man. The wireless headphone market is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's projected to grow even more astronomically. There are massive financial incentives to keep this train rolling. When you see such rapid adoption of a technology where the long-term health studies are lagging, or where concerns are being raised by independent scientists, you have to wonder about potential conflicts of interest. Who is funding the research that declares these devices unequivocally safe? Are these studies truly independent, or are they sponsored, directly or indirectly, by the very industries that stand to profit from their widespread use? It's a legitimate question to ask. We've seen it before in other industries: tobacco, asbestos, leaded gasoline, where early warnings were downplayed or suppressed for decades because profits were at stake. And where are the large-scale, government-funded, truly independent, multi-year studies on the health effects of wearing these specific devices for 8 hours a day? They're few and far between, if they exist at all in a comprehensive way. Look, the convenience of these wireless gadgets is undeniable. It's slick, it's modern, it feels like the future. But as we've talked about, there's a whole other side to this story. A side that involves RF radiation, potential health risks, and a lot of unanswered questions. The science is still evolving, but there are enough credible concerns out there that just ignoring them seems, frankly, reckless. We're talking about your brain, the most complex and vital organ you possess. So maybe think twice before you automatically reach for those wireless buds every single time. Convenience is nice, there's no arguing that. But what's the ultimate cost of that convenience if it's impacting your well-being in ways you can't immediately see?